Okay, we got another holster, another black leather holster. I will say spoiler alert, no, not spoiler alert, downer alert. The holster's a reproduction, the pistol is not. So, everybody want to hazard a guess as to what it is, which is kind of pointless because it says it in the title of the thing, but I wouldn't know looking at it other than it's pretty small actually. I mean, it's small. It's the size of my hand. Or if you watch my other videos, the size of a murder hornet. So what's in here? This is a FN 1922, a Browning pistol of design. Blowback 32 ACP. They were common, very common in Europe. Produced in Belgium by FN Herschel. Designed by John Moses Browning. And a nifty little pistol. It's the earlier versions were the 1910s. The 1910s were pretty much the same thing, shorter grip and no muzzle plug. Now, there's not a whole lot original to say about a 1910. It's a great design. It has the hold open. It has safety, grip safety. And the magazine holds 7 rounds. Oh, safety's still on. Dry fire. And yeah, it's got an interesting takedown feature here. You want to drop the mag, which is heel release. I always forget that. I'm not used to heel release. Oh, this one's stiff. So there you go. Heel release. Will not want to do that in combat. And to disassemble it, there's a little latch here. That's got to go up. That part twists off. Now on mine, you got to watch this part. I don't know what the retaining issue is, but this little part is going to slide right out and it's going to get lost. So again, I don't think that's normal, but if it were, that'd suck. Pull the recoil spring out, which nested around the barrel. And to get the thing off, slide the barrel back. There's a little notch area there. The whole thing comes off. Barrel comes out. And for some reason the striker came out on this. But there's the striker and the firing pin and the spring to retain everything. Again, not a complicated pistol. There's no firing pin block or anything like that, so I wouldn't call it drop safe. You can see the locking lugs and the locking lugs there. So what is the point of this video today? The point of this video is not so much to talk about the eccentricities of the pistol, but the eccentricities of the person whose name is marked on the pistol. Alright, so where are we at? So why is this pistol interesting? This pistol is interesting for, go to this shot here, show you some of the markings. This is why the pistol's interesting. This little marking here, that is the marking for Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands. You have standard Fabrique Nationale d'Armes de Guerrier Herschel, Belgium. So basically where it's made and national arms, Browning's patent, and then you have the proof marks for the Netherlands. Horn grips with a little bit of buggy bugs getting at it there, but otherwise a relatively straightforward pistol here. Again, horn tends to get holes in it, but not too bad. More markings. Anyways, so they're all your proof marks, inspection marks patent marks, serial numbers on the barrel, serial numbers on the slide. Serial numbers on the slide, I would call that a slide extension. 38 ACP is not a bad cartridge. 38 ACP will, it's better than a lot of pistol cartridges for martial weapons back then, which were about 32 ACP. So getting on to the idea of that W on there, that W is quite interesting. That W is for Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands. 1890 and died in 1962 at age 82. She advocated her throne in 1948 due to age problems, but she was an interesting woman. She was, royalty, so she was related to everybody, all the belligerents in World War I, and she actually had a meeting with the German Imperial Kaiser Wilhelm. And Wilhelm threatened her tiny little town, saying, well, not town, her tiny little country, saying, like, look at me, my guards are 7 foot tall. How are you going to stop us with your tiny little country? And she goes, well, when we break the dikes, the water's 10 feet tall, so I don't think we have anything to worry about. That was enough to just, keep the Germans at bay, and they remained neutral through World War I. They tried to remain neutral through World War II, but as we all know, the Blitzkrieg was a little more quick, a little more advanced in what they were doing. So she had to flee to England, and she actually fled the country on a ship called the HMS Hereward. Interesting little story on its own. An H-class destroyer delivered it to England, and she was saved there. Unfortunately, the ship was not. It was sunk not too long after. During an aerial engagement by the Germans. So, already kind of interesting fled on this ship, but in August of 1942, she was on vacation and visiting the U.S. to try to get help. She was in exile at this point, running her country, and an interesting thing happened to her when she was at the White House. This is one of the probably most infamous ghost stories you can come across. While staying in the White House, she was staying in the Lincoln bedroom. She heard walking and tapping. Walk, 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 tap, tap, tap for some time, and finally she had enough of this, and she opened the door to tell the person to stop wandering around. I'm trying to sleep. I'm a queen. And much to her surprise, she opened the door and found this guy. All right, maybe not that guy. Maybe something closer to this guy. All right. So she saw the ghost of Lincoln knocking on her door in the Lincoln bedroom. Now, not an in-depth ghost story. She fainted immediately, so she couldn't really have a conversation with him. And the part that I find interesting, out of all the ghost stories you hear in the world, that's a pretty high-level person to be talking about ghosts. So in World War II, the Germans took over Belgium and started manufacturing these for themselves. So you'll find them with Army accepted Waffen marks. Most of them supposedly went to the Luftwaffe because of their small size, easily concealable. A good round of energy at a 38 ACP. I mean, I can show you here. This is the blank snap cap for the, sorry, I'm going to put that there so it stays in focus. So that's the snap cap for 38 ACP, and its closest little brother is the 9mm. You can see it's a little bit bigger. And then maybe a more modern equivalent that a lot of Americans like is the 40mm, which is kind of hot stuff. I think it's dying out. I think people are tending more towards the 9mm, but regardless, 38 ACP is nothing to laugh about. It's a big round. It's no 22 or 25 ACP for that matter. So these guns here, they were produced between 1910 and 1983. So these had an incredibly long run, I mean, I'll bring up a chart here. You can see Holland alone. aka the Netherlands, aka the Dutch government, aka, wow, they have a lot of things to call themselves. You can see the number they purchased there throughout the years. It's in the 20,000, 15,000 per year leading up to 1940. The pistols were seized by the Germans during their invasion of Belgium. The Greeks purchased a further 9,000. Denmark another 3,000. And then you can see there's some Waffenamp WAA 613. Another 6,300, Waffenamp 103, 36,000, Waffenamp 140, 325,000, and there's more than that listed per country, but I don't want to kill you guys with too many numbers. Okay, so where are we at now? Total number produced from the numbers I can find just listing government contracts for military and police is 450,280. So 500,000, and then that's just, those numbers stop in 1940. It doesn't include anything post-war. I actually have some interesting photos here I want to show you guys. Right, so the first photo I want to show you guys is a bunch of people in a factory. It's a pretty famous picture actually. It's all the workers from FN in Belgium leaving for the day. This is pre-World War II photograph, post-World War I. You can see the inside of the factory here. It's basic. It's not like there's no CNC machines back then. These guys are all doing everything by hand. They would have had jigs and everything like that to obviously make sure everything uniform and to speed up development, but everything is going to be hand fitted. Complex by air. I'm not exactly sure on the date of this one, but it's still a fairly early photo of the factory. You can see it is a massive factory. They were producing firearms from pistols, shotguns, rifles, you name it. They were making it, and they were making it for pretty much every country in Europe and even parts of North America. So as to that, these were not just marketed towards military. I mean, these little rings are a good idea that, you don't want to lose them, but there's a automatic pistol catalog here. Not exactly sure the year of this one, but it's an earlier manual. You can see that it's designed for civilians as well. It's marketed towards them. So these pistols here, not specifically the 1922 version, but the 1910 and some of the 22s have an interesting history. I would say probably more so than most individual makes of pistols. I mean, there's exceptions. You can get into Lugers, you can get into Walther P38s, you can get into the Colts. Those are produced on much larger levels, but these guns here have an interesting history. I'm going to mix the 1910s and the 22s for the history because there's virtually very little difference between the two. The most famous use of this pistol by far was the proverbial shot heard around the world so the most famous one was when the Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated using a 1910, so the slightly smaller version. But interesting enough, the 32 ACP was more common, but the 1910 used to kill the Archduke was actually a 38 ACP. There was 3 of them. There's a photo here of one of the recovered ones in a museum. It's interesting. A lot of people got confused between this pistol and the 1910, which are completely different looking pistols. You'll find a lot of older documentaries talking about the Browning 1910 being the pistol that fired the shot, and the reality is that's not true at all. It was definitely a Browning 1910, and they said the confusion comes from the fact that the 1910 he had was one of the rare ones firing the 38 ACP as opposed to the 32. So that's rumored where it came about, but to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in the research of some of these programs that talk about the 1900. Anyways, that's a pet peeve for me. So it was also used to assassinate the president of France by a Russian engineer. That was in 1932 with the model 1910 and the 32 ACP. So there's another one for you. President of France. Never even heard about that one until I was doing this research. The Model 1910 was allegedly used to assassinate Huey Long, governor of Louisiana. I'm not even touching that one with a 10-foot pole, because I can tell you one thing. Man, Huey Long, not a good guy. And he has some qualities reminiscent of modern day politicians, but I'm not going to get into that. I don't really like politics, but if you want an interesting character, American character that maybe we can learn something from now, check out Huey Long. Anyway, I'm going back. It was also a famous Dutch Nazi sympathizer that was assassinated. He was a governor of one of the towns in the Netherlands, and one of the resistance used one of these guys to kill him. Makes a lot of sense. And one of the more interesting ones, you don't see a lot of these in movies. They do pop up every now and then. Check out IMFDB, the Internet Movie Firearms Database, if you guys want to learn more about how many movies your pistols have shown up in. But one was the Dr. No, James Bond 007. They had a problem during production that you couldn't fit a silencer onto a PPK. They just didn't work. I don't know if it was a matter of they don't want to modify the pistol, or it couldn't be modified. So they ended up, James Bond ended up using one of these 1910s. James Bond actually uses to shoot Dr. No within the movie Dr. No. So I don't remember Dr. No. I like James Bond, but there's so many movies out there. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you liked the bit of a ghost story for the Halloween month. And see you guys next time. And I have to do some editing now, I suppose, huh? Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Or you will not see me, and I will not see you, because video doesn't work that way. But you could see me. Alright, bye guys.